Welcome back. I tease Goldie sometimes when we do events like this because I think our total work output goes down on the federal side because there's so many people at the events. But it's fantastic because the dialogues and the discussions that go on here talk about fresh perspectives. You hear things from others, and it's so supportive to the journey that we're all on. And I actually brought this today because there's so many things that I want to tell you. And I'm going to talk in kind of three pieces. And those pieces are some of the things that happened in April and May. I want to make sure that you didn't miss them, and many of them are fantastic. I'm going to talk about the things that are going to be happening through the summer that are new. Summer moving into the fall, so that those are on your radar for you to take a look at. And then I'm going to talk about some things that are in delivery mode right now. And I hope for many of the people in the room, those are things that are on your own agenda, and they match with your agencies. I'm also extremely excited because yesterday we launched the Federal Data Strategy and the 2019-2020 Action Plan. I'm going to talk a little bit about the specifics. I'm actually not going to talk too much about it because I hope at a later point in time you go on strategy.data.gov and look at it yourself. Because what's important in there, the strategy is far-reaching and aspirational, and the 2019-2020 Action Plan are a smaller set of tasks that we have to start on right now. And so on that set of tasks, we're asking for feedback, but we've selected the things that are really important around building the right infrastructure to start that journey and ensure that the disciplines are in place. We've wrapped together the things that are requirements from laws that were passed last year and part of other initiatives like executive orders or specific agency priorities and goals, and then we put some challenges out for agencies. And those are ways that agencies can assess their own maturity in the data space, but also prioritize the important questions that they're going to ask. So I am going to, let's talk about some of the important things that have happened so far. I know you heard from Margaret this morning, and she shared PMA success stories and some of the results that are being delivered, like the awards for Gear Center and some of the other things that are on performance.gov. But I'm going to take it kind of a layer down and specific to IT modernization and a couple of those CAP goals. So at the end of April, the Sharing Quality Services memo was published, including all the supporting the website with the governance processes and the customer engagement process. We also did that in conjunction with the agencies who are leading those efforts. And so they talked about why those particular business support and mission support areas align with their mission and what their commitment is for not only managing the marketplace of solutions on behalf of the federal government for those solutions, but also keeping it current and engaging with customers. So that was very exciting, and we're looking forward to the journey not only with those 4 initial quality service management offices. I still can't say QSMO. That's an acronym, doesn't work yet. But with the quality service management offices, they are now in the planning phase. So we will see more from them as we move into Q4. I talked about the data strategy, but it's kind of interesting. Here's a milestone marker. This May marks the 10th anniversary of data.gov. It was launched in 2009. Is there somebody out there like, oh, I work with it every day? I didn't know how old it was. So happy birthday, data.gov. It was launched with 47 data sets, less than 50. We now have over 200,000. Just in that one source. And we have many across other agencies. So even though when I talk about the data strategy, it's about raising the bar and the disciplines around broader data sharing inside the government, outside, to stimulate research in the economy. But we've been on the data journey actually for a long time. So it's very interesting to see where we've gone, but we really have a lot more to do. So happy birthday, data.gov. We published the first update to the identity and access policy since 2011. That was also a really important accomplishment. Of course, we emphasized the alignment with NIST and with the Homeland Security Directive 12, but the most important part was that it called for increased agency focus around how we manage identity and focus on not only the frameworks, but looking at how we manage it across government, not just for a specific thing, and some of the tools that we need to further develop, extend, and invest in as the concept of a perimeter actually dissolves. And so when we think about how we protect access to federal data and federal networks, we are changing the how we identify who in the same way that we're increasing the disciplines around what someone can access and what they're using it for. So that was the important thing about the identity policy. DOJ and DOE, do I have anybody in here from DOJ and DOE? I can't even see your hands up. We did, if you were, hope that you actually heard and saw, we had some fantastic specific cyber events. Again, tripling down, getting more aggressive on what we do across those agencies in the cyberspace, but also areas where we've had great success that we can share across the entire federal government. I was personally thrilled that we held Fed Tech Day with the Department of Labor. So Secretary Acosta and CIO Gundeep Awalia did a phenomenal job of bringing together examples of mission-serving leading-edge technology, not just out of Department of Labor, but 7 other agencies, so that we could actually show how technology is improving our ability to serve mission. And I'll highlight, this is where I need my notes, a couple of the things. It's exciting to see the virtual training simulations, you know, when you can have on the glasses and see how we either train mine inspections or how to drive big vehicles. The drones were, it was really interesting to see what we can do and how we can ensure that people are safe, because we've done some of that inspection first with drones. A combined audio, visual, and workstation capability so that we can further the concepts of telework and the ability to telework, but ensure that the individuals also have all the tools that they need to be successful. So that workplace of the future was part of what was highlighted. Everyone loved the 3D printed Shelby Cobra. There's probably folks in here who like a 3D printed Shelby Cobra as well. So that was, I see some nods. It was incredibly exciting. We also had Ollie the autonomous vehicle. And we shared those as examples of what we can do with additive manufacturing and to pique the imagination of the art of the possible. And the secretary actually talked about in his opening when we looked at Ollie, when we look at our workforce as a whole, we want to have ways to bring more people into the workforce. And the autonomous vehicles, like Ollie, help us address areas where there may be mobility challenges and create opportunities to bring more into the workforce. But some of the best outcomes that I loved was I watched DOE, HHS, and the VA teams that were working on things get together and collaborate. I watched GSA and FFA actually challenge each other. They both had some RPA examples of who could deliver the most value and what that looked like. So like good, friendly competition. But that collaboration was exciting. We continued lots of workforce initiatives. This list is long. Super proud of it, and I'll talk about what we're doing in the future too, but we had, we started kind of a hackathon series. Those are gonna continue. Skills building investments, both cyber, data, RPA, and cloud. So the first cyber reskilling, they're all taking their test, or they're getting ready for their tests, their certification tests right now. So if you know one of them, don't interrupt them, they're studying. We started a second one, and maybe, we had great response. Maybe we can actually get it in third this year. Press guys in there, don't quote me on that yet. We're working on it. We are going to continue to explore broader public-private partnerships around how we, both career development and content that we can make available. And then SBI CIO Maria Rote and NASA CIO Renee Wynn attended with me and some of our industry partners in a CIO conference across the entire, actually CIOs from around the globe, in ways that we increase diversity, particularly focused on women in technology and how we bring women in earlier. And that was just April and May. So that's what we did there. So now, let me talk to you about what's coming. Yesterday, it's been a long week. Yesterday, we had the Women in Technology event. It was a phenomenal opportunity to take women in technology across the federal government and create some dialogues around what career paths look like, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and we actually did mentoring sessions. We called it speed mentoring, but kind of moved around and allowed people to have different kinds of conversations. And that was also focused on how we drive diversity. We've been fairly flat over the past 4 years for the number of women in technology. And I don't know if any of you saw the World Economic Forum publication that said to reach gender parity in the workplace, they forecasted 108 years. 108 years, really? Makes me mad when we wait a decade for something. But anyway, 108 years, we talked about the fact that we didn't think that was acceptable. So how do we change the pace of change? And that was another part of the conversation. It's also interesting when I'm talking about anniversaries, pace of change, and what we're doing in the month of June. It is also timely that we recognize June as Pride Month and the 50th anniversary of Pride Month. Yeah, and that's very important in our ongoing quest to drive diversity into our technology population. It's part of our workforce initiatives to reflect the people that we serve. It really gets important when we start talking about some of our initiatives on data, where it's very important to eliminate bias in both the data that we capture and how we use it. And at the end of June, we're going to publish the CAP goal updates. I promise I'm not going to read all those. They're fantastic. Please go on performance.gov. And I will do one shout out to the FSMA metrics that are under IT modernization. Agencies are continuing to do a great job moving where we need in our cybersecurity journey. Look for those at the end of June. There's going to be a few more policies that are out in their final version in the next few months. Cloud, data center, TIC, and we're going to have an update on TBM. The first pieces of Foundations of Evidence-Based Policymaking will also be out in initial draft for review. And there are some things that was based on the law that was passed just at the beginning of the year, and the timeline is aggressive. So we have to move really quickly in that space. Now, those are the updates of what's coming. We also know, and I'm going to ask all of you, I know you're working on lots of things that are already part of the President's management agenda and the specific agency agendas, and I'm going to highlight a couple of those that I want to make sure are top priority as you're thinking and planning over the summer. So taking action on the year one items from the data strategy, continued work on application rationalization, modernization, and transformation of legacy applications. I'm very excited. One of the agencies that received TMF funding is transforming legacy COBOL applications into Java, and it has really had some learnings that they will be sharing across the entire CIO community. And that's one of the benefits of the Technology Modernization Fund is even though one agency is doing the work, the intent and the lessons learned are to be shared with every agency. And they're to help all of government move faster. We've already had 3 agencies say, hey, can we have it now? Can we have it now? So, but not now, but we are, that will actually happen this summer. In partnership with GSA, I know you heard from Anil Sharian earlier today, we expect to have further engagement with COE. So 5 agencies, 7 solution areas, which he probably shared. But we're going to continue to work with them so that we're coordinating policy and execution and oversight together in as much of an end-to-end process as we can so that those things seem connected and make sense for agencies, but that also helps us accelerate our path. So those are great things. We're going to have internal discussions. We are actually just starting with the agencies on the draft policy for using automated technology. And we're leveraging the lessons learned playbook that I talked about with some of the agencies that receive TMF funding. We're also spending time, we have been examining how we use our high-performance compute environments to solve more complex problems that have massive data and data that we need to protect in very special ways, understanding with those environments what's happened both in our national labs and our research communities, and again, lessons that we can leverage, and we'll continue on our journey there. And so I'm gonna kind of close packing all that up and reflecting it. I went through a long list. That's why I had to bring up my iPad, which I'm still trying to get Goldie to get one because she keeps reading off paper. I'm not gonna stop. So we've done a lot of things in the past couple of months. There's a lot new that is coming out. Particularly on the data strategy, I mentioned a list of things, but many of those agencies are already working on, and we're using the data strategy framework to pull them together. So whether the ask came from a new law, an executive order, or part of our modernization, we've encapsulated that, or any other effort, we have encapsulated that into the data strategy. I know you heard from Michael Collin and Mona and Chris Rowley and other folks earlier this morning. Even though we're coming at some of those challenges from different angles, we all have the same objective. And that objective is to ensure that we are moving towards better usage of data to solve mission and complex problems, but we're doing that in a manner that protects privacy, security, and really emphasizes an operational maturity that allows us to do those things in a way that makes our citizens that we are serving comfortable. So that's a lot of things baked into one. I'm going to encapsulate the reskilling initiatives. We will have completed, kind of by the end of going into Q4, we will have completed a lot of these. And then what we're going to do across all the agencies is evaluate how we did and which ones we will scale. Because we don't want the commitment to reskilling to feel like a project or a one-time thing. It needs to be our ongoing standard operating procedure and an ongoing commitment across the CIO community to ensure those in the technology community have access to continuing to build their own careers and understanding the modern capabilities that we can bring to serving missions. So I'm going to put one more ask out there for you to look at strategy.data.gov and give us some feedback on the year one action plan. Love to hear your thoughts. Because in order to share more data, we have to ensure that the tools and the processes that we use to make the data available are guided by those thoughtful frameworks. And they're well tied to the agency purpose for which we have collected and used the data. And so those are some of the specific actions. They all relate back to that, and we want your comments on there. So I did a summer reading list, what we did, what we're gonna do, what we need to keep doing. I know that you have a lot of conversations going on today. All of these things, whether you're a federal agency leader, one of our industry partners, although I can't see any of you out there, it's dark. I can't see your smiling faces, hopefully. Any other contributor on this journey, it's all about how I think Margaret started the day with mission, service, and stewardship. And in all of the priorities under IT modernization, it's about taking the tools and capabilities that we have available and best matching them in every agency to that journey. So that was a fast drive-by. I know you have lots more to do this afternoon. I appreciate your investment and time here today. Thank you for giving me a little time on the agenda. Congratulations to FedScoop for WorkScoop. One other shout out, I'm really excited about that initiative. A big part of how we maintain all the progress that we're making is investment in teams and investment in our people. That's why you're here today. That's what WorkScoop talks about. And those are some of the things that through these initiatives we're trying to make ongoing standard operating procedures. So again, thank you, appreciate your time, have a great afternoon.